Hello, this is Andy. Doing a quick video on a little record haul I've got today. Now, this is not a record fair, to be fair. These are ones I got from a well-known record store, beginning with Rough, in their sale. So it's a decent haul. I actually went on there looking for a new album, and I'll come to that in a minute. And surprisingly, considering it was only released last November, I found it in the sale at a good, decent discount. So I bought that, and then fatally went looking down the rest of them, and have bought slightly more than a handful, slightly more than I intended, but a reasonable price. So anyway, let's get a whiz through them. The first one is a jazz album from the London band Ezra Collective, and they're part of this sort of what I call uber modern jazz, a very, very vibrant jazz scene in London. And the album is called Where I'm Meant to Be, and it's a double, good few tracks on there. The band are instrumental, really good jazz. As I say, very, very modern. But they've got a few tracks with singing on there, and they've got guests like Sampa the Great, Koji Radical, Emily Sandé, so they're pretty well known. And the I ought to say, sorry, bring it back a bit. It's beautifully done. It's an exclusive in completely crystal clear, transparent vinyl, and there was a thrown in little CD for it. Supposedly four tracks, but two of them say words from Femi, and Femi's the drummer and the leader of the band. And there's a couple of tracks on there which are live recordings of two of the tracks off the album. Not listened to it yet. Then there are a few albums which I have on CD. Really like, and they're the sort of thing which I keep an eye open for if I see a great CD that I like, which I think would work well on vinyl, and I see it at a reasonable price, I try and pick it up. So there's a few of those. There's one which I ought to have, never have, and there's a couple of random ones, but they're all in the sale, reasonable price. So this first one is Mercury Rev, and it's the Light in You. I think this is their last studio album from about 2015. I love all their stuff. It's not one of my favourite of their albums, but I think this was probably not a reissue. I think this is an original one, which is probably languishing around in rough trade, and then it's in the sale. So it's a beautifully presented album. It's a classic. So I really like them. I got into them originally with in 1998 with Deserter Songs, which remains one of my favourite albums of all time. I've never seen that on vinyl, and it's one of several I've got of theirs on CD, and I continue to keep my eyes open. Then another absolute classic, similar to, back to sort of 2000, and that is Goldfrapp Felt Mountain, which is their debut, and it's beautiful. And Alison Goldfrapp has such a beautiful voice. As I say, it's another one, classic album I absolutely love. Never seen it on vinyl. It appeared in front of me, and that's another sort of translucent one, this time in gold. Another band I'm very fond of, have mostly on in MP3 format from downloads from yonks ago on my server, but I bought a couple recently of their in vinyl format. One a sort of slightly older one, and one their latest issue. But I spotted this, and this is their favourite album of theirs. It's Beach House, and the album Bloom. Again, a double, very nicely presented, sort of thick vinyl. I haven't got into it yet, but it feels thick, so looking forward to that. The next one is one which people say, well, why haven't you got that? And I don't know. I just never have. I've got it on CD somewhere, but I've never had it on vinyl. It's one I keep my eyes open for at record fairs. But usually if I happen to see a copy of it, it's either a really rough copy or it's silly money. And I am talking about Black Sabbath's debut. I don't know why I've never had it on vinyl, but this is the 50th anniversary, so it's a reissue. And it's very, I've not even opened it up from the cellophane yet, but it's the one I'll listen to last out of these because it's the one I know the best. Now, finally, a couple of random picks, and bands I like, so they're not new. They're not random from a band point of view, but random from an album point of view. And the first is Funkadelic, Standing on the Verge of Getting It On. Good old George Clinton, absolute nuts. I don't know this album. It was a reasonable price in their sale, and I thought I'd give it a go. I mean, my favourite, the one album of theirs I do have is Maggot Brain, mostly because of the amazing title track on there, which is, I think, very possibly with Eddie Hazel's guitar, is very possibly the greatest guitar solo cut to wax. So there's a challenge. And finally, and last but very much not least, is Talking Heads and their live album from 1978. Don't know this album. I do know Talking Heads. Don't have any vinyl of theirs. Do have some CDs, some of their old stuff. And this one is resplendent in blue, sort of semi-transparent blue. So I'm looking forward to listening to those. I usually try and get to a record fair every now and then, and might well post the hall. So I haven't got any fairs coming up that I can make the dates to. So I thought I'd share my January sales haul. So thanks for watching. Cheers.